All right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mack here on 1010XL's podcast platform at 1010XL.com. Of course, on the app, the 1010XL app, and live on Facebook. Of course, we are archived, shared, and scattered all over the internet, wherever you watch, listen to your favorite podcasts. Of course, YouTube and all the Spotify, all the social media channels you can muster. We are all over it. Of course, to catch up with Tommy Mack, brought to you by Team Tommy Mack, just a group of small businesses here in the region, locally and regionally, that, man, I just personally endorse. And they do it right. If they didn't do it right, they wouldn't be on my team, but they do it right every single time. And I'm proud to have them on board. Lots to get into today, including the press conference of Ryan Nielsen. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. I don't go to those things. I don't really overall really care to hear what a coach has to say. I just want to see it. But whatever, we'll go through that. We'll take a look around the NFL just a little bit. Steve Wilkes getting fired. Interesting. We're going to just talk about that. And then, of course, the Kansas City Parade. Man, what the hell? People are crazy. Like, this is ridiculous. And Mahomie, bro, keep it together a little bit. But nonetheless, they were having a good time prior to the all that tragic incident that went on. Anyway, we'll also look at, I took a look at the top outside backers slash edge rushers in free agency coming up in 2024, and we'll take a look at some of those guys and see if maybe they could be a fit here in Jacksonville. Before I do all of that, or we do all of that, let's say hello to Grammage, the esteemed producer here on Catching Up with Tommy Mack. What's up, Grammage?
Happy Friday, baby.
How are you, bud?
Good, man. It's
Were
Friday.
you down at the press conference? Did you go?
No, I was not.
You did not go.
I watched it live.
You did watch it live, yep.
I was back here at typically the way we do the pressers, especially the off-season pressers with the media team here is Mia O'Brien normally goes, as well as Hayes Carline and the rest of our 1010XL contingent. Yep. And then there's a few of us that stay back and watch it live. And
Got you.
we have like our graphics and stuff ready to post if they say anything juicy or whatever.
Right.
We can go ahead and post it so they can focus on asking questions and all that.
Okay. I'm not a big, I've never gone to a press conference. In all my years in media, in radio, even when I had my own show, I never wanted to, I always just wanted to be kind of a read and react editorial type, host. It's not, when I say I don't care what they say, I don't mean it like so personal. I just, whatever they're going to say, what they're going to say, I want to see it on the field.
You don't care to hear coach speak.
I don't. I mean, a couple good lines, nothing cheap, nothing deep, something like that. Sounds like a porn star movie or something, or film. That just sounds awful. But nonetheless, that's, that's cool. He sounds genuine, Ryan Nielsen. I just look, at the end of the day, it's just about accountability. For me, it's just about making sure you got the right guys. Look, scheme it up all you want. You get beat up front. It don't matter what the scheme is, because you're getting your ass beat up front, and that happened way too much for 2023 for this defense. The front seven, they played well through about 11 weeks maybe. And then slowly, because we were watching it, Grammage, every week when I do the stats, they were at 3.6 yards per carry on defense for a while. Remember? Then it went to 3.8. Then it went to 4. Then it went to 4.2. It kept going up and up and up throughout the end of the year. So, and a lot of that was just getting moved out of the way and people not being able to make plays because the linemen are, 3-5 yards down the field more times than not. So for me, that's got to change. Whatever scheme it is, I do like how he I'll paraphrase here. Hey, look, he's not going to determine today what kind of defense they're going to run. He's got to look at everything. He's got to see what the strengths are, see what the personnel is. He knows what he wants to play, but he's going to customize it to what the talent that he feels can do what they need to do in his scheme. And then he'll customize it from there. So, I'm not down on it. I just, I don't know. Great. And I know a lot of media is like, wow, yeah. Man, he killed the press conference. Like, I mean, what's he gonna say? Yeah, I don't even know why I took this job. To be honest with you, there's not a whole lot of talent here, and I don't even know if I like Coach Peterson that much. To be honest with you, but I'm sitting there in Disney, I'm getting on this ride. Next thing you know, I'm like, hey, why not? It's right up the road. Maybe I'll just go check it out. You know what I mean? Like, what's he gonna say? It's all good. I've said this many times publicly too. Is like every Thursday the coordinators talk throughout the. I don't even want to hear from him. I want to hear from the head coach, and that's it. And then for the rest, I can figure out myself. I don't need a quote. I don't need I like hearing what they say. I mostly read it, online after the fact. But I like hearing what they say, just not as far as like that's how I would do my show, so to speak. But you said yesterday there was a highlight for you, Grammage. What was the highlight of yesterday's?
We've buried the lead here.
Oh, okay. Was that it?
So you know how there was some drama on, was this Balky's hire, was this Doug's hire, that kind of stuff? Here's my theory.
Okay. Bring it.
I think Shad Khan saw that mustache and said, "You're hired." It's one of the best mustaches I've ever seen. Okay. I wish every question was just about the mustache.
Yeah.
We would have gotten more legitimate answers.
Yeah.
Because when you're asked how Trayvon Walker is going to be, we want to put our players in the best position to succeed.
Yeah, what else is he going to say? Right.
Well, I would hope so.
Right.
Like, what's he going to say? We don't want.
That's why I almost feel like, why put him out there? What is that for? Like
the mustache, that's why.
No, but any coordinator. I mean, they got to do it every week. Why? Why do you have to put them out there? Why do they have to answer to the media? And I'm not against, of course, part of me, I'm not against any of that. But I don't want to hear from them. I want to hear from the head coach. I want to hear from the main guy, and he could tell me all about the play call, and he could tell me all about how they're producing or not producing and why. You know what I mean? I don't know. And then again, like, look, they got to do it. I think the league mandates that teams, make these coaches accessible. It's a new hire. It's exciting. I'm not saying it's not. But again, like we just said, like, what else is the guy going to say? I wish him well. I hope they have a badass defense. I really do, man. And I hope they add some talent. We'll look at that. But again, I've said it all year long and off season. It's more attitude for me, man. Change the attitude. Change the narrative. Get humble and get hungry, and then stay that way throughout the whole year. You're not the only team, I get it, but, hey, who cares about the rest? It's interesting. Steve Wilkes gets fired after a year, and everyone's like, what the hell? And I get it, but you look at what hurt him is they were getting gashed in the run game quite a bit. And as we know, that hurts. I know Fred Warner, who I love, I think fantastic player. He's like, well, the takeaways and all that, but I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, in Jacksonville, we don't count the takeaways. They hide up everything else, right? So that doesn't mean anything. Remember, that was the rhetoric here. Oh, wait a minute. We're top 5 in takeaways. Oh, yeah, but that just covers everything else up. Okay, getting our ass kicked up front. I don't know if it covers it up, but it does help that you lead the league in takeaways. Granted, you were almost leading the league in giveaways, so at the end of the day, that didn't really matter. And then Joey Bosa, look, he makes a comment. He's like, look, the back end was good. And then he made a comment about not being prepared for Mahomes' called runs, planned runs. He's like, we weren't prepared for that. He made a comment about that. I was like, it's kind of interesting. I mean, it wasn't that dynamic, were they? Did he even have any planned runs? Weren't they mostly his runs were off of getting out of, escaping and making things happen with his legs?
The only quote called, and it wasn't even really technically a called run, was that 4th down where he came like booted outside, and it was really an RPO, really,
right?
Because
so that's kind of a called run.
Because Kelsey was like coming out in the flat,
right?
And you basically Mahomes can either dump it off to Kelsey or scramble.
Right. Run pass option. Well, maybe that was what he's saying. They weren't, but that wasn't a ton. Like, I don't know. He got out of dodge. You let him out a few times, and that hurts. And
what I felt like hurt him is I felt like they did a good job of gap discipline when they're, I know we say the famous gap discipline thing, but not getting too far upfield for Mahomes to sneak outside.
No, right. It was all through the middle.
It was up the middle that he was really killing him.
And they got him that 1 or 2 times, right? He just got on, they tripped him, and you would have thought they would have enclosed that a little bit more, but hey, credit him for, as far, I was listening to Dan Jeff and Denny Thompson about running quarterback. I said, that's what I'm talking. I'm not talking about the RPO. I'm talking about they encapsulate you. You're gonna get hit, or you got to escape or throw the ball away. You can't just throw the ball away from the pocket with that kind of pressure, because anything can happen. You got to escape. You got to find a way out, and then take off and make something happen with your legs. I want to see Trevor do more of that for sure. I don't need RPOs for him. I could care less. Couple misdirection that's worked in the past. You get a run game going. Yeah, he'll keep that ball and take it around. Make sure that they're not expecting it. But
I would have liked.
I do like a running quarterback in the sense of being able to escape and make something happen with your legs. I think it's big.
I would have liked the Jags to run more RPOs in the back half of the season just to see if it would help the running game at all.
Well, give it a shot.
I mean, they were just getting stuffed every time. And one way that you can help that is the quarterback's legs being a threat. And did they run a designed RPO all year? I don't know if they ever did.
No.
I mean, maybe every now and again that we just missed, but it wasn't like part of their game plan, which is fine. Like we said, it's not like that really needs to be. He's not Lamar Jackson. I get it. I just think that by the end of the year, when it got to the point where they couldn't get 1 yard running the ball, I would have just liked at that point to see if a couple keepers would have helped, just at least keeping the defense guessing a little bit.
Yep.
But outside of that, I agree with you. The majority of Trevor utilizing his legs needs to be more escapability than designed runs.
Well, I mean, the one misdirection, he got hurt. He hurt his knee, right? They tackled him. He stayed home. The ankle was, Walker getting pushed back and just stepping on his ankle. But the knee was him misdirection, rolling out, and they made a great play. They stayed home. They didn't bite on the fake, but I throw a couple. I've said this many times. Single back run, stopping the run against a single back's pretty. It's not that difficult.
Like without a fullback.
Yeah, and it's easy to read them. You're not fooling anybody. You know what I mean? Like you could fool. You do an I formation. You can fool. You could fake the dive and throw the pitch. I mean, you could run an isolation. You could split them. You could hand it to the fullback. You know what I mean? You could do all types of stuff. But with a single back, it's either he's either getting it or the quarterback's keeping it.
Especially even more so in shotgun.
Yeah,
because the running back's on one side.
Here's my theory about the offense this year. When you're a pass-first offense and the passing game isn't working the way you want, some of it was due to losing Kirk for sure, and then Zay being hurt. That obviously played a factor in it. But when that doesn't work, and then you try to run the ball, they stuff it. When you can open them up a little bit with your passing attack and then hit them with the run, that's how you get 5 yards a carry. When your passing game ain't working, now they know, man, all we got to do is shut down the run, and we're going to be all right. They might make play here or there, or score a touchdown, couple that, you know what I mean? And then the running game averages 3.5 yards a carry, whatever it ended up averaging. So, you got to get more beef up front. I'm thinking free agency. I'm looking to build my defense a little bit more. I'm still looking at the draft. Don't get me wrong. But that offensive line, maybe mostly draft,
I'd like
because depending what you do with Cam, can you do something with Cam, with his contract and make it friendly for everybody? I do want him to stay if they can find a way to keep him. I know a couple weeks ago I was like Ridley or Cam, and I want Ridley. It's going to be interesting how they figure him out. I heard what Coach Nielsen said yesterday about Josh Allen. He's going to be a Jaguar one way or the other. I hope he gets his deal. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen, but you got to be really, really confident that you can land Ridley, Because if Ridley is a free agent, he's going to command big money. No one's going to be like, hey, man, give us a discount because you're just second. He's going to be like, no, I'm the top free agent, especially if Higgins stays and Evans, you know what I mean? He's next. He is. So people are going to throw, that big money at him, thinking that, look what he did in a year after being off for a year and a half. After really not being consistent, he still put up what? Almost 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. Man, we'd like 8 touchdowns from our starting receiver. You know what I mean? We'll throw some big money at him. So you better be confident that you got him if you're going to tag Josh, right? Because the only way to protect you with Ridley is getting Josh done, which easier said than done, I guess, because I'd get Josh done, and then if I need the tag for Ridley, I throw it on him. So that's going to be risky. And then that third pick, second pick, right? They do it before the deadline, it's a second. If they do it after, it's a third. And that's where the risk comes in. Like, do you have him secured? You'd have to, right? Or you're going to be like, no, I'm going to do it and just take the hit on the draft pick. Or let him walk, which I don't think they want him to walk. And I wouldn't either.
I think there's basically no chance at this point that they're going to be willing to give up the second instead of the third. I think for sure they're going to wait past then. I also think Josh is going to end up getting tagged to buy time for his deal.
Okay, so let me throw a hypothetical at you. Say they tag Josh. So you say to Ridley, all right, we're not going to sign you before the deadline so we don't have to give up the second round, but here's what we're going to offer you. What if other teams are going, well, wait, Cal, I'll give you more than that. You know what I mean? I mean, he could be loyal. He could. I'm not saying he's not thinking, well, man, they gave me my chance. I could take a little less. I love it here. I do like playing with Trevor. I think we could do something. There are other factors into it. Don't get me wrong. But, overall, what if someone, hey, I'll give you $5 more million a year. We need a number one.
I think it depends on what the deal looks like.
Yeah.
Because if he's if a team is willing to pay him like real wide receiver one money, then I would highly doubt he's going to end up back in Jacksonville. If his market is not quite, it's still going to be good money regardless, but if it's not quite that, maybe a little bit less than he thought and hoped for when he hit free agency and the market's not quite there, then I think he ends up back in Jacksonville, because I think Jacksonville at that point would at least come somewhat close to matching whatever that offer is.
Yep.
But to your point earlier, T. Higgins is probably not leaving Cincinnati. Mike Evans is probably not leaving Tampa. Yep. So you're right. Calvin Ridley is going to be the best receiver on the market. Right. Jacksonville saw this very thing a couple years ago. The Cardinals were saying, oh, well, Christian Kirk's not going to get paid. Right. Crazy big. And then what happened? The Jaguars said, we'll pay you.
Right.
So it could absolutely happen. Jawan Taylor last year.
I was just going to say, look at Jawan Taylor. I mean, you kidding me? Guy got a boatload. And he's okay times.
Most penalized player in the league.
I know, but
do you think they regret that contract? I mean, they won the Super Bowl, so they don't regret anything. But
no,
you get what I'm saying?
Now with the Super Bowl win, I mean, if he gave up a bunch of sacks and stuff, in the Super Bowl and cost him the game, that would be. But
did you see the hold he got away with?
No, I think there were more than one out there,
dude.
They're mauling him. I know that was a maul. That was like, oh, you can't go there,
bro. Like
you get beat. You're like, no, you can't come back. Let me just hug you. Yeah, it was brutal. That was absolutely brutal. But so I do think there'd be a big market for him, and then it just comes down to what he's willing to. I mean, maybe it's a big. What if it's Carolina? He's like, I don't want to go through Bryce. That development. I like Trevor better. I want to stay here. Now, the flip side is this. I'm only going to play devil's advocate for a second here, but you pay him the big money here in Jacksonville. Are you extremely confident he's only going to go up from here? Or are we going to run into the same kind of problems that we ran into in 2023? You have to feel Trent Baalke and company and Doug and everybody got to feel really good that they're going to get the best Calvin Ridley the next 3 years or 4 years, whatever he's here for. You got to guarantee that if I'm going to pay him that, because that's the risk. He walked away. Look, I love I love his story. I love that he's a Jag of what he did for us. I want him here. But he walked the game away from the game before. Maybe those, I don't know, things can happen. Things do happen. So you just got to be very, very confident that, hey, man, we're going to give you this big money. You're ascending. Because that's the way I look. I mean, I want him. Why? 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, and he had multiple miscues, without a doubt. You clean those up and really focus on some of the routes that he was really productive in, you're going to see 1,212 touchdowns. That's what you're going to see. That's what I think could potentially happen. That's why I think the upside's there. So you're going to overpay for him if he hits the open market. It'll be interesting how they do it. That's why I think, look, get Josh done. You know what Josh is going to take. You know what it's going to take. You have an idea. So you know what I mean? Do you really? I don't know. I'll tell you this. I'm more confident. Now, granted, he's been here longer. That Josh Allen continues to ascend with a big payday, right? Than Cal. But I'm confident in Cal. I'm not trying to say I'm not confident in Cal, but if I had to pick between the two, and they both got big, big contracts, who's going to keep going up? Who's going to keep, ascending as a player? I'd say Josh Allen.
Your ranking is Josh Allen, Calvin Ridley, Cam Robinson.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. As far as, what do you mean? Just
in terms of who... priority list of who they need to keep most.
Yeah, I want to keep Cam if I can, right? I don't want to. Hey, I know it saves money. I know it does, but you need his tenacity, man. You need that leadership. You need more of him. You don't need less of him, in my opinion. Now, if Anton plays left, will Cam play right? I don't know. I don't know how they work that out. At the end of the day, you put the 5 best linemen out there. I'm not concerned about the outside. I've said it all off season. I'm concerned about the inside, the beef on the interior, O-line, and D-line.
Can I give you some teams with the most cap space that could potentially be a threat
for Cal?
Ridley hits free agency?
Definitely.
The team with the most cap space heading into free agency is the Washington Commanders. You think they would? They'll be drafting a rookie QB.
They've got
likely.
What's that?
They'll be drafting a rookie QB most likely.
Yep.
Whether that's Sam Howell,
Jaden there.
Daniels, or sorry, Sam Howell's there.
Yep.
Might be Drake May or Jaden Daniels. They might draft.
Right. I like that Jaden Daniels, man. What about they got a really good receiver up there.
Terry McLaurin.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd go nice with him. Yep.
The Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
Second most.
I mean, they might go for him just.
I feel like they're already paying DeAndre Hopkins a lot of money.
Yeah,
they have a lot of other needs. Their secondary is really poor. I think they're going to dedicate their money in other ways.
Well, they're going to build around Levis, right? So, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, because Derrick Henry's no longer there. It's no more ground and pound and then throw. Maybe it's different. That could be a maybe.
The main team I'm worried about, in my opinion, is the team that comes in third on this list, and it's the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. I've heard that a lot,
Because they are most likely going to draft Caleb Williams. If I had to guess, I know there's some things, whatever but if I had to guess, when it comes draft day, they're going to pick Caleb Williams. So they'll be out of the Marvin Harrison Jr. sweepstakes.
Yeah,
who's going to go probably 4 or 5. And
I wouldn't take that kid.
They got DJ Moore.
I wouldn't. I like DJ.
Well, even if they don't take Caleb, they're probably going to take a QB.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to.
So are you trading Fields in that? Are you got to trade first? Like make sure you got a trading partner before you do that.
Probably.
Who would be his candidates? That'd be interesting. I mean, look, I'd take a flyer on him all day long.
The team.
Would I turn him into my starting QB? I guess it depends if I really need a QB.
The team that makes the most sense to me for Fields, in my opinion, is the Falcons.
Okay. Desmond Ridder doesn't do it enough.
Desmond Ritter's been a little bit underwhelming.
Yeah.
I haven't loved him. And he was never I think he was a second-round pick for them, but it's not like they picked him top 5 or something like that where you've got to really play it out and see.
Yeah.
Justin Fields is from Georgia.
Yep.
And Justin Fields has been really good.
I like him, man. I know. He's got to hone it in. He does got work to do. There's no doubt, but I think he can be productive. I do. And if I'm the Bears, I don't know, man. I might be wanting that Marvin Harrison Jr. over any wide receiver, unless Higgins or Evans
any wide
come
receiver.
out.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
But if you take a QB with your pick.
No, right. That is gone, right. I don't know if I would. I don't know. I don't know. I got to.
But I
don't think. Look, Caleb's got, again, here we go with the generational stuff. Doesn't mean anything unless you can play the game at the NFL level. I'm worried about his psyche, to be honest with you, but I don't get to interview him, so that's not really fair. But I would want to know a little bit more about the young man before I give him the reins to be my franchise QB, especially in a big city like Chicago. You better be right. You let Fields go, like you trade him, whatever, you better be right that this rookie that you pick is the guy, or you're out of a job, the GM I'm talking to, Ryan Poles.
Oh, 100%.
If that doesn't work in 2, 3 years or 3 years, you're gone. It's a big decision for him. He just got there.
It's the biggest decision of his career.
Without a doubt. And there is that old look. I inherited Fields. I didn't pick him. He's technically not my guy. But if you're wrong, smell you later. You're out. And you should be. You can't be wrong on this one.
So let me ask you this. If you are Ryan Poles.
Yeah.
And I have already made myself and my team, we've already made the decision. We are drafting Caleb Williams or Drake May.
Yep.
Or Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
We're drafting a quarterback.
Okay.
Which means we're not going to get Marvin Harrison.
Right.
So 100%, we're taking a quarterback, pick one. We're trying to find a trade partner for Justin Fields, and that's that.
Yep.
And the number one free agent wide receiver on the market is Calvin Ridley. I've already got DJ Moore in the building.
Yep.
Darnell Mooney's probably gone.
Right. Yeah.
And I got a lot of cap.
Yeah, Ridley makes sense there in that scenario for sure. Yeah, without a doubt.
He can be my 2.
Yeah, without a doubt.
DJ Moore is my 1.
DJ Moore, that guy's legit.
To me, that's going to be the main team to keep our eye on as Jag fans because in my opinion, Ridley will hit the open. I don't think they're going to end up tagging Ridley.
Yeah.
I believe they're going to end up tagging Josh and let Ridley test the open market, and depending on what he gets offered,
he's gone if you do that, in my opinion.
If he's in Jacksonville or not.
I think he's
the
gone
Chicago
in
Bears
that
are the main
situation.
team.
Yeah.
I think they'd be the number one team that has enough reason justifiably to say, here's a huge contract, Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
Say no to it.
No, absolutely. Well, he can be, the upside is what? He's a true number one that puts a lot of pressure on those safeties and defense coordinators, right? He does have that potential. We'll see how that all shakes down. All right, we will look at the edge rusher free agent class. How about that? Brought to you by Team Tommy Mac. Chris Lucero's bail bonds, man. If you get thrown in the clink, he gets you out in a blink, man. Nobody wants to get thrown in jail, but if you do, for whatever reason, call 904-822-2245. My boy Chris will get you out anywhere in the Northeast Florida region. Carpet Man Flooring, more than just luxury vinyl planking. That's right, all types of flooring at the highest quality, lowest prices. Solomon Ventures, houseware goods for the home, indoor, outdoor at less than wholesale prices. Azar Sausage Company, homegrown and down home. They grow it here. They process it here. You find them in Winn-Dixie. We had it for our Fat Tuesday meal. It was great with red beans and rice. No doubt about that. Graffiti Burger Bar, new ownership, new management, new menu. A great spot to watch all your sporting events. Salt Air Inn and Suites. A friend of mine just stayed there the other night. Great little boutique hotel with concierge service owned by Beach Life Rentals, and they're all the way down from Atlantic Beach all the way through Flagler Beach, and you can rent all types of stuff, bikes, surfboards, paddleboards. They're at the pier. They handle the Jacksonville Pier. Check them out. Code Ninjas, of course. We were just at Ninja Fest. It was cool. Had a good time. Get your kid to learn how to code, man. Don't be a fool. Coding is cool. It sure is, and when you're done with that program, you can get a job. You'll be certified to do certain things. And J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. Hey, all you builders out there, developers, roofers, you need a hauling service, look no further than J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. JDogJunkRemoval.com. Veteran-owned and operated. They do it with integrity, and you can trust them like I do as well. And, of course, I want to thank 1010 XL. All right, we only got a few minutes. I went online. I wanted to see all the lists. So, number one free agent, by the way, is Josh Allen out there. So, they're going to tag. He ain't going nowhere. But if he hit the open market, he had major bank. No doubt about that. Danielle Hunter looks like he's going to return to Minnesota. Is that what I heard? We'll see about that. He had 16 and a half sacks. He's a hell of a player. Would love to grab him. I'm thinking, look, I want to keep Josh, and I love where Trayvon's going. I think he's going to be a baller for sure. And I think you can move him around. I think that's going to happen. I do want another pass rusher that can come off the bench and affect the quarterback. And I'm willing to pay for that. Might be a 2-year deal. It might not be this 5 big year deal, but somebody that I can count on to get to the quarterback when I need him to. Has to be okay against the run, not great against the run, but has to affect the QB from the edge position, or we move Trayvon down, slide him outside, or maybe he can come over and play wherever he feels like playing. There are not a ton of those guys, but there are a couple of them. Bryce Huff out of the Jets, 10 sacks last year. They say he's not good against the run, but exceptional against the pass. Carl Lawson coming off the Achilles 2 years ago. I really liked him coming out of Auburn, man. I thought I would have liked the Jags to have drafted him. He went to Cincinnati, then with the Jets. He's kind of that injury. He came back strong, but and the second year removed is when you really are fully healed. So maybe that's a good time to grab him. Josh Uche, we'll see if he sticks around the Pats, but he's a pure pass rusher that you could bring off the bench and utilize. Jonathan Greenard, who had 12 and a half sacks for the Houston Texans. You saw him. Could he be utilized in that kind of fashion?
He's a Gator.
That's right. He is a Gator. Zadarius Smith's an interesting one from Green Bay to the Browns. Only 5.5 sacks, but I think he's still got some juice left in him, and maybe get a little bit more. Jadeveon Clowney, we missed on that one. 9.5 sacks for the Ravens,
and was a beast against the run.
Yeah, he was. If they don't want him, how about Kyle Van Noy? 9 sacks, quiet 9 sacks, but he's good against the run too. Can you utilize a guy like him? And again, it's you got Leonard Floyd. 10.5 sacks. Dorrance Armstrong, Cowboys. I like his upside, but I don't know if he'd be at the top of my list. Hassan Reddick. Look, I'm talking a year or two. I'm not talking like going to be here for 5 years, but, I think you're going to have some opportunities to bring in talent. We didn't do it last year. Again, big mistake. Big mistake on thinking we had all we needed and we'll just sign everybody. Look, 21 out of 22 starters came back. I thought it was a good idea at the time, but then you look back, you're like, man, you didn't really add enough to it. Like, okay, great, but you still got to add, and hopefully you got players you're developing, and we'll see about that. Look, rookies are rookies. Year 2, there should be a nice jump in production from year 1 to year 2. You should have a ton of confidence going into year 2 if you played some football in year 1, without a doubt. By year 3, now you know what you really have. Really, I think by middle of the second year, you'll know what you have. Unless it's a QB, you got to give them a little bit more time. So we'll see if they can do that. But I'm thinking add some free. Look, I want an interior defensive line. I think you're going to have a shot at one of those guys that we talked about a couple weeks ago. Christian Wilkins, just right down the road. Maybe there's more. We went through that, and maybe through the free agency, grabbing a proven pass rusher that's only going to make Trayvon better and Josh better. And think about this. If you can move Walker down and have another real strong, and a D. I'm drawing it up on the board. I need some 3D, animated. I can put it up there because I'm getting jacked up about that. You can really build a defense. I know they got to figure out Foye Oluokun. He's got a big cap number. You drafted Miller for a reason. I don't know. I don't want him to go. He's a tackling machine. He scored, the interception for a touchdown. The guy makes plays left and right. Maybe you try to redo his deal, give him, bundle it up, give it up, make it guaranteed money. You know what I mean? Make the cap smaller. You can figure out a way to do that. But I hope this defense does get back to being a top defense. Maybe Ryan Nielsen can get it done. I hope he can. And look, you got to add some talent to that defensive side of the ball. Doug says he can fix the offense. I want to see that too. We'll talk about that next week, right? get into the offensive side of things. I got to go. Jaguars today at 10 a.m. I jump right into the radio studio till 12 noon. Y'all have a great Friday. Grammage, thank you.
Yes,
Team
sir.
Tommy Mac, thank you. Great stuff. And everybody checking it out here on Facebook and throughout the 1010XL.com website and their app. Till next time, stay safe, be cool, man, and have a great weekend. Till next time, right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Peace.